How's it going, everybody? I'm Lewis, also known as Skeffles, and welcome to my 28th devlog for Project Torrim, my Iron Age fantasy tower defense game. Last week I worked on various level improvements, linked to the video in the cards, like zoom, animated decorations, and enemy dust trails. The bubble decorations were great, but the trails were pretty bad. I've had plenty of suggestions on how to sort them out, so I'll be trying them out soon enough. This week I want to move on to game balance. Inspired by a devlog by Game Endeavour. Check out his channel if you haven't already, he's working on an awesome looking RPG in Godot. I wanted to create a spreadsheet to work out how to balance the game. Creating a spreadsheet to balance this is a completely new exercise to me. Hopefully it turns out well. I'll catch up with you when I'm done. I've been playing around with a spreadsheet, came up with some values I think will work out well, and put them into the game. The spread consists of two sheets. The first is for enemies. I've put in the amount of enemies that will spawn, the tiers of enemies, and the health of each tier. With this I can work out the total health of enemies that the player must kill, and the reward they'll receive for doing so. The second sheet is for tower power. I've listed the damage and speed of each tower to work out their DPS. I also worked out the DPS for each upgrade to them and set their cost roughly based on their maximum DPS. When considering the freezer tower and additional projectile effects, the DPS increases the further you play. So comparing the enemy health and reward, I think the DPS of these towers and cost of them seem like reasonable numbers to me. It's kind of hard to tell at this point in time, but I think approaching the initial game balance like this was good. Although I'm sure I'll be making plenty of changes later on when I get round to playtesting. I know I already have at least one idea for improving the early game balance. Moving on, the next feature I want is the ability to save and load games. Thinking about saving, the game should save when you start a wave so you never lose any big progress. I think I'll use the same approach to saving as I did with the level editor, specifying key properties for the game to save. These properties will include the towers, what wave you're on, the fortress health, and game score. This should be fairly straightforward, so I'll catch up with you when I've got this sorted. It's come to the end of my development week and I've got a fantastic base for saving and loading. When a wave starts, it will save the game. This creates a game properties class, which contains the number of remaining waves, the towers, the fortress, and the game score. This class is then serialized into a string and saved to a file. When launching the game, the load process begins. The save file is deserialized into a game properties object, which is then used to set the waves, recreate the towers, the fortress, and the game score. This system allows you to play the game, close it, and reopen back to the latest wave you are on. I have a few ideas for improvements on this, such as game profiles, which I think I'll work on when adding and improving the game menus. This week has seen some fantastic progress. Whilst it's not particularly flashy, improving the game balance and adding the save and loading system really makes the gameplay nicer. Next week I plan on beginning work on sound. I'm not really a sound guy, so any suggestions on what to do will be massively appreciated. I'm thinking I'll try SFXR, experiment with some Foley, and just play around. I hope you enjoyed watching this devlog for Project Torrim. Leave the video a like to let me know you did, comment to give me any feedback, and don't forget to subscribe to keep up to date with the progress on the game. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.